Hello. This is 10, isn't it? 10? I just woke up, so my hair's crazy looking. Sorry. I think this is number 10. So, number 10. I don't have a ton to talk about in this one, to be for real with you. But, I mean, I kind of do. I kind of do at the same time. It's been a while, but, the biggest thing is a comic book that I read. We'll get into that. I started reading some Green Lantern as well. I love Green Lantern, so I started reading some of that. So we'll get some of like the Jeff Johns junk. See, because when I was first getting into comics, or I guess not comics, because here's the deal: when I first got into comics, you know what? Let's just tell the story. Um, I talked about Batman '89 for a while, because Batman '89 was the first, like, kind of because I'd seen the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man stuff before, right? But that, and I loved those movies, and I watched them all the time. And if you ask my parents, like my mom, if you asked her, she would tell you that I used to be able to literally recite every word of those movies when I was a little kid. Now, do I remember that? Not really, because I was a baby, right? Like, I was a tiny child. I don't remember that junk. I probably wasn't even sentient, but I mean, I was. I just don't remember. But anyway, I don't remember that junk, but I know that it happened, right? And I know that I used to watch Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3 all the time. I've never been a Spider-Man 2 guy. Everybody is. If you ask anybody, it's the greatest movie ever made. I don't agree. I'm not that guy. I like 3. I like 1. 1 is my favorite. 1 to me is the best Spider-Man. Well, No Way Home is really good. I also like TASM 1 a lot as well. TASM 1 is really good. Anyway, because TASM 1 came out like around the time that I was actually able to understand what was going on in movies and stuff, you know? And, because when was that, like 20, it wasn't 14, because that was Spider-Man, that was TASM 2. I don't remember. I'm not like a Marvel guy, as in like I know everything about everything when everything came out, you know? DC, I know just about everything, like, okay, this came out then, whatever. But anyway, point is that, like, I don't even know when Spider-Man 3 came out. Was it 2006? I don't remember. I don't remember. It couldn't have been. That was probably 2000. That was probably Spider-Man 2 was 2006. Or something like that. Or that was 04. I don't know. Point is, I don't know. But I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, okay? I do like him, but he's not my favorite. Anyway, I'm a Hulk guy, okay? Ang Lee Hulk, like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Give me that. But anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh, when I was a kid, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies were my favorite thing, right? I watched those all the time. That was like, this is what I do. Well, that changed quickly when I found Batman '89. And when I watched that junk, it changed my life, right? Forever. Um, Now, I do have a Batman Returns poster on my wall right there. Like, Batman Returns is my junk. But I like Batman '89 more, I think. Like, if I'm picking one of them, I'm picking Batman '89. That's just because I think that Batman '89 is the best. Like, it's just the coolest Batman movie to me. I'm not saying it's the best one, but in terms of just nostalgia and things like that, it is my favorite. And I love the soundtrack, dude. Danny Elfman, right? And that's another thing about that soundtrack. I feel like kids our age, right? Like, I'm born in 2005, and I feel like we all played the Lego games as a kid. You know, I remember having DS, IXL, and I used to play like Lego Batman, Lego Batman 2, and like all that stuff on my DS. And then, whenever I got an Xbox 360 later, I got, or it might have been Xbox One whenever 3 came out. I don't remember, but I remember getting that. And I had like Lego Avengers and stuff too, but I was always a DC kid, like I said. Still am. But I really liked how it used the Danny Elfman soundtrack. And so that was always like, it just immediately, when I think of Batman, I think of that score. I think of that version of Batman, personally. So Keaton is my favorite. And Adam West is also my second favorite. I love Adam West to death. And the comics are really good too. And we're going to loop back to that, with the comic books. I just smacked myself. With the comic books, Wilfredo Torres does the artwork for those. And he also did the artwork for this book that I'm about to talk about in a little bit. But, yeah, I haven't read a ton of those, to be honest with you. This is nasty how much it calls. Hello. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Wilfredo Torres, like, he did the Batman 66 stuff, and there's also Wonder Woman 77 stuff, which I'd love to read that because I love that show as well. I love Linda Carter. Um, I love Steve Trevor's guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head because it's been such a long time since I watched that show. But he's great. He was actually going to be Batman in the show because there's casting of it. You can find it. They were gonna, like, before they cast Adam West, like the screen, like the test screen footage. They have him as Bruce Wayne. It's crazy. Something Wagner. What is it? Is it Steve Wagner? I don't think it's Steve. Kurt Wagner? I don't know. Whatever it is, you can find it. But yeah, they did that, and it's nuts to find that. It's like, wow. And then like 10 years later, he's on, Wonder Woman. But anyway, that's Steve Trevor. But anyways, Batman '89 was my first introduction into comic books in general because it made me a Batman fan. Right now, I didn't read a comic book for a long time. Actually, I can tell you what my first comic book was. Actually, I was in like 5th grade, I think. So I was a little kid. And my mom, and I didn't even watch Marvel movies really at the time. Well, here's the deal. Phase 1, I watched Phase 1 a lot. Like, I watched like Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is my jam, okay? Iron Man 2 is my guilty pleasure Marvel movie. It genuinely is one of my favorite Marvel movies. People hate on it all the time. But I grew up on that junk. Rhodey, and Tony fighting each other. And, like, the Mark V, and like, just, it's so good, man. Black Widow, I love that movie. Nick Fury, him in the donut. I mean, it's so sick. So I love that movie personally, right? Him making the Mark VI, and them fighting Whiplash. I think that movie is awesome, and I genuinely love it. And I grew up on it. Hammer is hilarious, right? Sam Rockwell, like him dancing. I've always remembered that in my brain. But yeah, like, I love that movie. I grew up on that junk. Now, I didn't really watch Captain America as a kid, but I didn't watch Thor either, I don't think. But I did watch Incredible Hulk because, again, I was a Hulk kid. I watched Incredible Hulk. I watched Ang Lee's Hulk. I watched Iron Man 1 and 2. I didn't really watch Avengers, but I'd seen it before, like on TV or something. But, yeah. So, Iron Man and Hulk and Spider-Man were like my 3 when I was a kid. Okay? And the X-Men. We had all the X-Men movies on DVD, right? So it's not like I hadn't seen a lot of Marvel stuff, but in Fantastic Four as well, we had both of those. But I wasn't like a Marvel kid. I liked them, but Batman '89, I would literally just watch that junk on repeat, and I'd play the Lego Batman movies on repeat. And then when I got my Xbox 360, this is in like 2014, so I got it really late. But like I said in a previous one before, I had a PS2, and it broke. My dad, it actually didn't break. My dad gave it to his cousin. Or not his cousin. He gave it to his brother, my uncle. And he gave it to him so he could have like something to watch DVDs on. And so I didn't have it anymore. But whatever. I talked about that, how it was like my introduction to wrestling before, because that was the first like wrestling thing I ever saw was Raw versus SmackDown on there. So thank goodness. Anyway, and I also had the Ghost Rider game. I remember beating that game 15,000 times. That was another movie I used to watch a lot, was the Ghost Rider one. But with Nick Cage. But I remember playing that game on repeat over and over and over again. I loved that game. So that's a good game, dude. Ghost Rider on PS2. It's just like a God of War ripoff, but it's really fun. So that's a good one. That was like, I think, the first game I ever beat as well. And there were like sections where you could ride around your motorcycle and stuff. It was really cool. But anyway, I'm sure it's an awful game, but at the time I liked it. And I had a Hulk game too. Anyway, and a Spider-Man game, but I can never remember which one I had. You know what I mean? I've tried to like find it on like YouTube, but there's so many of them I can never remember which one it is. I think it's one of the movie ones, but I'm not sure because I was so young. I don't really remember what it looked like. So, but anyway. That's pretty much all I played when I was a kid was Marvel games. But anyway, when I got my Xbox 360, there was the Batman like Arkham City and Asylum thing, and I remember seeing that and I bought it, and like, yeah, that junk right there, that day, whatever day that was, that changed my life because I would like Batman '89 made me a Batman fan for real. You know, it really did. This junk made me like a fan for life. Like it made me a DC fan for life. It made me a Batman fan for life. Like, um, in fact, I think I played them out of order, and because I remember playing Arkham Asylum, and I could never beat them as a kid because it was too hard for me. But I remember Arkham Asylum, like other than Ghost Rider, because Ghost Rider is really easy if you play on the easy difficulty, and I remember beating that all the time. But I'd never beaten like a difficult game before. Like that's really complex. You have to solve puzzles. You have to do things. Ghost Rider is just a hack and slash, right? But this one, it was like actually legit. You know, like Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, like you have to really think to be able to beat those games. It's not just given to you. And I remember Arkham Asylum was the first game like that I ever beat. Right? Because I remember watching the credits. I was like, wow, I did it. I actually beat it. I was like a little kid, you know. But anyway, Arkham Asylum has like the Titan formula in it, right? And I remember I was playing Arkham City. I had never beaten Arkham Asylum. I was playing Arkham City, and Batman's like Titan. You know, like the lady and the nurse, like you save her and you get the electronic or the like tool that shoots the electronic stuff and it like opens doors and stuff. And I should know the name of it off the top of my head. The remote electronic something, but and he's like Titan, you know, and I was like Titan, that's from Arkham Asylum, so this must be a sequel, right? This must be a sequel because I didn't realize that at the time when I was a kid. So then I think I went back and beat Arkham Asylum first, and then beat Arkham City. But yeah, man, that's the thing about them games, dog. And I had never seen the animated series, and I don't think I'd ever seen the animated movies either. Oh, Injustice. I got to talk about Injustice, too. That was another one that kind of got me into DC even more because it had a bunch of characters I'd never seen or heard of before. And that was the first fighting game I think I ever played, too. So, yeah, that's a big one. But not that I'm a huge fighting game guy, but I do like them. I like NetherRealm ones anyway. Capcom. I remember getting the Street Fighter, like the collection thingy that they made, and it literally I would spend days trying to play Street Fighter 2 because I just sucked so bad, and I could only play as Ryu or Ken. I'm a Ryu guy. I can only play as Ryu in those games, in Street Fighter games. Literally, that's it. But I have beaten. Now I'm using rewinds and cheats, but I have beaten the arcade modes on most of the Street Fighter games. As Ryu, but again, I cheated. I don't care, right? Because they're hard as heck, bro. The arcade mode, oh my gosh, some things are hard as heck. You know, they wanted your quotas, man. Anyway, but NetherRealm was always my deal. Like Mortal Kombat 9 was my first Mortal Kombat, and I loved that game as a kid. Loved that game. I've always loved Raiden. Johnny Cage. Like, Johnny Cage and Raiden have always been my two favorites. I don't like Raiden nowadays. I could get into this spiel, too, about Mortal Kombat 1. I didn't like that game, dude. I'm just being for real. Like, it wasn't bad gameplay-wise. I played as Johnny a lot, and it was fun. Like, I had Johnny and Sonya. But I didn't like the cameo thing at all. I thought the cameo thing was lame. And it just made it way more complicated than it needed to be. And I hope they get rid of that with whatever they do next, because I don't like the cameo system at all, to be honest. But, and I don't like the Johnny reset. I don't like, sorry, not Johnny. I don't like the reset Raiden. I don't like Raiden in this game. Raiden in Mortal Kombat 9, X, and 11 was the coolest character, like, ever, bro. Like, Dark Raiden and MK11. I remember when that trailer came out, I was freaking out, bro. I was like, this junk is awesome. He like, blows up Scorpion's head. It was like, dude, this is sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, he cuts off Shinnok's head in Mortal Kombat X. He's just the coolest character ever, dude. And then they ruined him in MK1. I thought he sucked in that game. So, yeah, that's just me, right? Ed Boon, fix it, bro. Fix it in the next game, please. I don't like this reset junk. I don't like this multiverse junk with Mortal Kombat. I just want to see them do a classic story again. Make it simple again. That's all they need to do with Mortal Kombat. MK11 was fun because you had, like, the merging and stuff. But this game, when you, like, reset and it was, like, all this weird junk. I didn't like that. So, and it was simple until the end, but it was like, I just don't care. You know, I just don't care about anything going on in the story mode at all. I hated the story mode. I really did. I thought it was so boring. And I didn't care about any of the characters. I really didn't. So, yeah. Anyway, that's just my spiel about Mortal Kombat. I could talk about that too. The first Mortal Kombat movie, oh my gosh. I used to watch that all the time as a kid, bro. That junk was the best. Your soul is mine. Whoa! Like that junk is... that junk's in my brain forever. You know what I mean? That will be in my brain the rest of my life. I love that movie, bro. It's so good. Man. Those are $500 sunglasses, blank. To Goro. Oh, man. That movie's the best. Anyway. Now, when his hand opens up and that junk comes out of it, that's a little freaky. But, it's the best. If you've never seen the first Mortal Kombat, you gotta watch it. I've seen the second one, too. We don't talk about that one. But the first one's so good, man. Reptile in that movie, so cool. Anyway. Enough about Mortal Kombat. I do love Mortal Kombat, though, is what I'm trying to say. So, with fighting games, Mortal Kombat's my jam. I love Mortal Kombat. I have since I was a kid. I love all the characters. I love all the story modes and everything, except for MK1. And I just find the gameplay a lot more fun than Capcom stuff, even though I'm a huge Capcom fan. Like, I really love Capcom games. It's just that I don't like Capcom fighting games that much. Just because I'm not good at them. That's it. It's my fault. I love Ryu, though. Anyway, back to DC. The whole point of me getting into that was because of Injustice. Injustice was the first, like, fighting game I think I ever played. If it wasn't, then it was MK9. But they both came out around the same time. And that was, I really loved that one, too. That game was really fun to me. I used to play that a lot. And it introduced me to a lot of characters I'd never heard of. Unless they were in, like, the Lego game, right? But, like, it had a bunch of people in it that I didn't know. And I was like, this is cool as heck. And then it also had Arkham references in it. When you, like, are in the Arkham Asylum, you know, stage, and you, like, do the stage transitions, and it's got all the Arkham characters. I was like, this is awesome. Anyway, but back to Arkham. Arkham's Asylum and Arkham City. I'm an Arkham Asylum guy. I know people love Arkham City. Arkham City's the best one. Arkham City. I don't agree. It's the same thing with Spider-Man 2. I don't agree. I don't think Spider-Man 2 is the best one. I don't think that Arkham City is the best one. I think Arkham Asylum is better. It's got that atmosphere to it that none of the other ones have. You know what I mean? Like, I get the gameplay's better, but even then, all the side missions in that game, like, yeah, they're there, but they're so hard to do, and they never tell you how to do it when you're playing the game. You just end up skipping them. Like, with Arkham Knight, I do every side mission in that game except for Riddler. Like, I don't get all the trophies, but I at least save Catwoman at the end, right? But I do every single side mission in that game, and I don't even have to look anything up. With Arkham City, you have to look stuff up to even be able to do the side missions because they never tell you where they are. They just happen randomly, like every once in a while. So you have to look up the location of them, and, like, you never finish them. At least I don't. Like, tell me you've ever just played the game and actually finished the Victor's Has one during a normal playthrough without purposefully doing it. It's impossible. Right? Without on purpose, I need to find them and kind of wait around. You will never do it. So the side missions, I think, aren't very good in that game. At least the way that they're laid out. So that's always been my biggest gripe with Arkham City. Arkham Asylum didn't have that problem because there's not side missions to speak of except for the Riddler stuff. And I also, because I've done all of them in that game, I remember where most of them are. So when I'm, like, beating the game, I'm able to get, like, more than half of them just off of memory. So it's like I'm able to upgrade everything and, you know, whatever because of XP and whatnot. So I don't know. I just like Arkham Asylum more. I really do. I play that one more often than Arkham City. And Arkham Origins, I can't really talk a whole lot about that one, to be honest. I played it as a kid, and I remember liking it. And I love Roger Craig Smith. I love Roger Craig Smith, but I haven't been able to play it in a long time, so I can't really speak on that one as much. I can tell this story, though. When Arkham Knight came out, 2015, or 26, whenever it was, I had a DSi XL, like I said, with a bunch of games on it. Bunch of games. I had an Xbox 360, bunch of games, right? 2 controller, like a ton of stuff. I took back both them things. Every game I had, every control, like everything I had, to GameStop. So you can guess what I got. I got a pack of bubble gum, right? But I took back everything I had, and I got an Xbox One, and I got Batman Arkham Knight, and because I wanted that game so bad. That goes to show you how big of a Batman kid I was. Like, he was literally my favorite thing ever for a long time. I remember there was a point where every T-shirt I had was Batman. Yeah, I had a hoodie. Like, everything I wore was Batman. I think that was like my 15th birthday, 16th birthday. I think it was probably 15th birthday, I think. But, like, literally it was 15th, yeah. Everything I had was Batman. But, this is way later, before this game came out. But I remember I did that, and I got the game. Here's a funny story about that. We get it, right? I go home, and now you have to download games. I'm used to Xbox 360. I ain't never had to download a game before, right? I remember, actually, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, you had to have, like, a drive. You had to stick a drive into your Xbox to be able to download it. I remember that. But to be able to play it, that was weird. I had to go to GameStop and buy, like, a 10 megabyte one or something stupid. But when Arkham Knight came out, I had to download it. I had never had to download a game before. So I was like, this is weird as heck. What's going on? And it wouldn't download. It wouldn't work. So I started crying. And I remember my dad came in there and he was like, man, you need to quit crying. I'm going to take this thing. You know, but yeah, I started crying, bro. I was that sad, man. I was so sad. So we took my Xbox back to GameStop. And apparently they had cheaped out and they got me a pre-owned copy. And so they got me a new copy, and then it worked. It worked. We literally we downloaded it at the store. And then they had like a Forza Horizon. I think it was Horizon. No, not Forza. What is that called? Frontier? What, like the BMX game. I forget what those are called. You know what I'm talking about. Whatever that is. They used to have one for free, like the demo on the Xbox 360. I used to play that junk all Trials XD, or whatever the heck it was, or HD. And they had like a demo you could play. I used to play that junk every day. Anyway, that's a throwback. But they had that. They had one of those. It was like Trials something, and Frontier or something like that. They had one of like the kiosks, and I was playing that while they were downloading it. Anyway, that's just the story that I had for that. But I remember playing that junk all the time, like over and over. And I've beaten Arkham Knight probably more than any other game I've ever played. Now, in terms of game time, Skate 3 probably has my most game time of any game I've ever played. But the Arkham games, I've beaten them more than any other game, for sure. I probably hundreds of times at this point. Yeah, dude. Anyway, enough about Batman. But my whole point was, that's what made me... Batman 89 started my love for Batman. The Arkham games continued it, made it grow huge. And then in 2020, when COVID was going on, I started getting into comic books. Oh, I never said what my first comic book was. My first comic book ever was Guardians of the Galaxy. Was it Brian Michael Bendis? I think it was Brian Michael Bendis. It was in like 2000. It was in like when did the first movie come out? When in 2013? It was probably like around 2014, something like that. I can't be right. Maybe it was like around 2013. It was before the second movie came out, because I remember it had the stuff with Ego, and then Quill like shoots Ego. I remember that being in the book, and so when I watched Guardians 2, like 10 years after it came out or whatever, because I was super late to the MCU, but I remember when I was watching the movie, I was like, I've seen this before. And that's because, and even like Quill's origin story, like with him getting sucked up and all that, that was in the book. And I remember, like, I've seen this because I read that book. So it was like that. If you know what I'm talking about, I can't really tell you what it's called because I don't remember. But I remember I'm pretty sure it's Brian Michael Bendis. And it was a Guardians of the Galaxy book. And that was the first comic book I ever read in my life. Ever. And then in 2020, so like forever after that, I was in like high school at the time. I was like a kid. I think I was in 5th grade. I was in high school before I read my next one. And I started just going on a spree. And we went in Barnes & Noble one time. I was like, I want to get into comic books because I love Batman. I want to get into comic books. I want to start reading Batman books. And in 2016, also Batman v Superman came out, and we had that on. I had that on DVD, and I would watch the fight scenes on that junk. I would just skip ahead to the end and watch like the last hour of it over and over again, and I'd watch like Batman in the warehouse and Batman fighting Superman and then fighting Doomsday and Wonder Woman and stuff and all that. I would just watch that all the time, and I was like, I need to get into comic books, so I did, and I went to Barnes and Noble, which I don't have Barnes and Noble where I live, but it's like about an hour and a half away or something to the next one, closest one, and we went to that, and I got The Killing Joke. And in fact, I shouldn't be doing this. We'll do this later because I can show you the books that I have. I can show you all my comic books, so we'll do that one day. But I'm just gonna tell you. But I'll tell you the first two I got: The Killing Joke and Hush. That was the first two I ever bought. They're literally right in front of me, on that shelf. I'd have to go find them, but we'll do that eventually. We'll go through every comic book I own. That'd be a big video, but we'll do that eventually. But that was basically my journey into how I got into comic books was that day, and then I literally went back and started just buying them all the time, and I became a huge Batman fan, a huge comic book fan. I got into Superman as well around the time, and my Superman journey, I feel like that didn't start until the Superman the movie. When I watched that, and even then when I watched those movies, I enjoyed them tremendously, especially the first one and the second one. I enjoyed them tremendously. I have a soft spot for the third one. I can't lie, bro. The stuff with Clark and Lana is just so awesome, and I love those scenes. I love Clark being Clark. I love, uh, the stuff with Richard Pryor. I can't help it. I love that movie. It's so dumb, but it's so fun. I love evil Superman. I love Clark fighting him in the trash heap or whatever the heck it's called, the junkyard. And he finally kills evil Superman. He opens his chest and it plays the John Williams Superman theme and he flies off. It's like, dude, this is the greatest. You can't beat this. Like, Reeve is the man. But I don't think my love for Superman started really until I watched Superman Returns. And I know that Superman Returns isn't the best movie in the world. It's not. But I just have an affinity for Brandon Routh. I don't know why. I love Brandon Routh, and he's my favorite Superman. He still is, even after Corn Sweat. I really love Brandon Routh. And I remember watching all the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's like longer than the movie. Like 3 hours of it. I watched all of it. I watched the whole movie. I watched all the deleted scenes. There's one at the very beginning of the movie where it's in like the Kryptonian ship that he came to Earth in. But it's like kind of he's definitely put some upgrades on it at this point. And he's like flying to Krypton. He's wearing the white suit and it's playing like the Fortress of Solitude theme in the background. And they paid like $1 million for that scene and they deleted it from the movie, which is crazy. I don't know why they did that, but because it's probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. You can find it on YouTube if you look it up, but it's awesome. Anyway, but Brandon Routh is easily my favorite Superman. And then the Christ on Infinite Earth stuff with Kingdom Come. He is my Superman still. Best suit ever. Him flying and he's, oh my gosh, like him doing the Christopher Reeve shot where he flies towards the camera. Oh my gosh, you can't beat it. So yeah, that was kind of my start as a Superman fan, for real. And then I got a Death of Superman omnibus, and that was a big one too. That was like, whoa. I read like a bunch of Superman comics. But again, I'm skipping ahead. We'll do that eventually. But this kind of goes into what I was reading and what we're about to talk about today. I'm not gonna spend too much longer talking about this because I don't want to waste too much time. I've been talking for way too long already. But we got Superman 78. Look at this. This cover is gorgeous. Look at Lois. Look at Jimmy. Like, this junk is just the greatest. And there's a lot of glare, but would this help or make it worse? That's bad. That's bad, bro. Anyway, we're gonna turn that off. Anyway, but this junk is the greatest. This is just really like glare heavy, but once I get rid of this, it won't be as bad. Look at how cool this is. Like that, literally, that looks like a VHS tape. It's crazy. I've never actually used a VHS tape. I've held a VHS tape, but anyway. But like, dog, I'm telling you, this junk is awesome. It's got like Lex and Superman, and Brainiac comes down to Earth, and he's got his big skull ship, and they're fighting, and he has to surrender and go up to the skull ship, and then he learns. Oh, look at this! Him throwing the thing like Superman 2. It's so cool. It's so cool, man. But there really is some wonderful artwork in this, because again, like I said, it's Wilfredo Torres, who did the Batman 66 stuff as well, and I've also read some of that. Look at that cover. What a beauty. So cool. He didn't do all the covers, but, you know, those are variants, obviously, but it's really, really great. And it really reminded me heavily of the Man of Tomorrow stuff that they're about to do with James Gunn, because it was like Lex and Superman teaming up to fight Brainiac, and I was like, wow, this is actually really similar to that, because that's literally what they're doing in this book. Basically, Brainiac comes to Earth. He takes Clark up in the ship because he surrenders. He doesn't want him to kill everybody in Metropolis, so he surrenders to Brainiac. Lois is obviously heartbroken about this. And he learns about all the cities that they have bottled up in there. There's a couple Batman references you can see right there. And, like, there's Bruce Wayne right there on that little thing. But Lois is, like, writing about Batman and stuff like that. That would be really cool if they were to do one of these and have Batman in it with Christopher Reeve. They have, as I've talked about a ton, the Batman 89 comics, which I like. I like. Here's Superman wearing his little Kryptonian suit, which is awesome. We never get to see that, so that's cool. Anyway, his parents are actually alive, and they end up, their Krypton didn't get killed, blown up, or it was going to get blown up, but then Brainiac sucks it up into the ship and saves it before it gets blown up. And there's Jor-El, little Marlon Brando. And so he ends up saving, this is my favorite cover, he ends up saving them before they get blown up, because he wants to preserve the Kryptonians, right? And so Superman figures out that they're still alive, and he's like, okay, I'll stay, and I'll be the leader of Krypton, right? And obviously Lois isn't too happy about that. Lex is like, I'm not going to let Brainiac be the one that beats Superman. I'm going to do that. So Lex figures out a way to save him. He sticks this little thingy on his back with alpha waves from Superman 2. Oh, that little black box. If you know what I'm talking about, Otis. Are we going to Addis Ababa, Mr. Luthor? They actually reference Addis Ababa in this. I'll try to find that. But anyway. But Lex figures out a way to track him, and they find his ship. Brainiac realizes that Luthor's super smart, so he comes back to Earth to get Luthor, and he tries to suck up Metropolis. And actually, it kind of reminded me of Superman Returns, where they have the big kryptonite island, and Ralph is like picking it up over his head, and he throws it into space. You know, there's a part. It was kind of like, honestly, like Age of Ultron, and even with like Sokovia, but it was like a big island. It was crashing down to Earth, and he had to stop it. You know, it was Metropolis. Anyway, look at this cover, dude. Look at this cover. Like, wow, it's so cool, man. Definitely my favorite one. Anyway. But yeah. But basically, he comes back to Earth. Lex, he comes back to Earth to get Lex. and he starts stealing Metropolis. And then Jor-El, being the super genius that he is, with the thingy that Lex had, because Lex is smarter than Jor-El, was able to find a way to send him back to Earth. This is when we get to the really good artwork here. Like, there's some shots. Whenever Torres writes, there's it flying up in space. Whenever Torres draws Superman in pain or like struggling, it is just amazing to look at. Also, is this not Richard Pryor? That has to be Richard Pryor. I can't think of what his name is in Superman 3 off the top of my head. But it 100%, like, look at these pages. Dude, look at that. That is so sick. Like, when he draws his face, like, that's literally just Superman when he's crying out after Lois dies in Superman 1 before he flies away and reverses time. Literally. It is awesome. It looks just like him. It's so cool. Anyway. But yeah. So, we get a big fight between Superman and Brainiac because he's trying to take over Metropolis, like I said. And this is a good shot right here. This like perspective shot of them inside the little thing, and they're watching them fight. Really cool. He's using his freeze breath. And then Brainiac gets in this big mech, and they have a fight in this big mech. At the very end, last issue, they have a big fight. Clark obviously succeeds in winning this fight because he's Superman. The ship blows up. Boom. And then Clark has to stop the island from falling. That's also, that shot is literally exactly from when he's flying backwards in time. But yeah. Oh yeah, and this is straight from Superman 2 as well, when they're blowing on them, like Zod, Ursa, and Non are like blowing their breath at them and they start flying around. That's straight from that. Anyway, but he ends up landing the island on the ground. Here's the Addis Ababa with the bingo. But yeah. And then that's it. Lois talking about a peanut butter and pickle sandwich for some reason. And that's it. Boom. He finds the bottle, sticks it in the fortress, all the bottles. Yeah, I know there's another one too. I'll have to read that one digitally. But really great. I had a ton of fun reading this one just because I love the books, or I love the movie so much. It's my favorite movie ever. And so for me, it was just like so cool. This one's awesome. It was so, there's actually a picture of this of Clark, and he's like holding a taxi up with his finger. And it's so cool. If you can find that, I have it saved on my phone, but if you can find that, I might make that the thumbnail of this one. That picture. But maybe not. I'll probably just didn't be holding this up. But anyway. This is my look at this cover. I had this as my iPhone background for a long time. I didn't even know it was from this. Like, seriously, what a cover. So cool. I love it. This one's like an homage, you know, but that one is just so awesome, man. Easily my favorite. This one's good, though, but anyway. I think that's about it, right? Yeah, it's got like a Richard Donner thing on it. So, yeah. Really cool. I enjoyed this one a lot. It came with my vinyl. I talked about that a while ago. I think it was episode 4, like I said. And the vinyls one. Which was episode 9. So, yeah. Yeah. Really cool. Is that all I had to talk about today? I was actually going to talk about something else. But this is a long one. I kind of went off on a tangent. I listened to 2 records. There's this band. I can't think of the names of the records, but it's fine. Just go look this band up because they're good. They're called Circuit Rider Music. And they make like Christian stuff, but it's really good. I've listened to almost everything they've done at this point. They're really good, so check them out. I listened to 2 of them in one day. through their records in one day. And then I think that's about it. A lot of stuff's going on with the Rangers right now. They're gonna trade Panarin, so that's pretty crazy. I think Mika's gonna stay. Thank goodness, because I love Zibanejad. I have a jersey and everything. I don't want him to go. He's my favorite, so I'm glad he's staying. They're probably gonna get rid of Trocheck. They're doing a retool. The letter came out. We're here. They had an amazing game against Philly. Otter got his first goal. That was so fun to see. I loved that. I've seen Laba's first goal, Perot's first goal, and Otter's first goal this season, so that's pretty awesome. I'm hoping Morrow can get his first as a Ranger soon. That'll be cool. Yeah. Martin had a good game, too, against Philly. Spencer Martin, he had a good game as our backup goalie, so that was cool. Our backup goalie, while Shesty's out. First start as a Ranger, won the game. Mike Sullivan's 500th win as a head coach. There was a lot going on, man. Mika got a hat trick. I mean, it was a lot, but it was a great game. That one was super fun. They literally had 3 goals on 3 shots. Like, at the beginning of the game, they pulled the goalie in the first 10 minutes of the game. I felt so bad for the Philly goalie, man. I was like, this is terrible. But anyway, there's a game tonight, I think it's the Ducks, but it's like 9 o'clock. I probably can't watch it because I gotta go to school tomorrow. I might be able to. I don't have to go until like 10:50, so I might be able to. But we'll see. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is a fun one. Anytime I can just kind of sit here and talk about stuff, these are the most fun ones to me because, yeah. And I'll definitely do another one of these where I talk about more comic books. As I said, I'm reading Green Lantern right now. I think it's, oh my gosh. I'm reading Green Lantern right now. I think it's called No Fear. I've read 3 issues. It's like him fighting, what the heck is it called? I can't even think of it. Whatever. I'll figure it out. When I finish reading the 6 issues and I talk about it, we'll get into it. But, yeah. That's it. This was a good one. I think this is my favorite one so far, other than the vinyls one I did. The last one I did, that one was definitely my favorite. But this one was good, too. This was fun. Anyway, thank you. You're the best. You're awesome. Have a great day. I love you. Jesus loves you. And, yeah, thank you.